The dawn of Yangchen is coming soon, and I for one cannot wait to see how my opinion of Yangchen as an avatar is going to change, and maybe my opinion of other avatars is going to change from this book and possible duology as we saw with Kyoshi. But the thing that I'm most interested in at the moment is basically what her story is going to be. You can check out my video with Antoine Bandelet carded up here where we discuss the overview of what was given for the book, but today I want to break down a few theories that I have of what we could see with her story and what I would like to see in general. So let's dive in. Yangchen as an avatar, from the little bits that we know throughout the Avatar series, is that she is the kind of avatar who was more about working with people than she was about connecting with the spirits. And this is the thing that I think is going to very much inform how her story is going to be, and maybe even inform why that was the case. Now, we saw in one of the graphic novels for Avatar The Last Airbender that there was conflicts that arose with the spirits because of Yangchen's actions. And also from the Kyoshi novels, we know that Yangchen picking humans over spirits led to some darker spirit situations that Korra himself had to deal with, and unfortunately led to his young death. And so I wonder if we're going to get an understanding of why this choice came to be. And for me, there's one thing that I think is going to lead to this decision, and it's from the description we get in the book of a weapon of mass destruction. Now, as we saw in Legend of Korra, they start using spirit vines to create a spirit weapon. But what if this wasn't the first time someone tried to create a spirit weapon? But in the case of not using spirit vines, what if they were using actual spirits? Whether it be corrupting a spirit or forcing spirits to work under their will, there's a possibility that humans and spirits collabed in some way, and this is how a weapon of mass destruction was created. And so when Yangchen saw what happened, and I assume probably defeated the situation going on with this, she realised that humans and spirits cannot be together, they cannot be connected, because it is a dangerous combination. But because she lives in a world with humans, she chose to focus more on the human side and, in a sense, dampen down spirits to make sure that situation of mass destruction and weapons with spirits couldn't be used again. In relation to working with humans more than spirits, considering there is a huge political landscape that goes on in the world of Avatar, as we saw in Kyoshi, as we saw in Korra, and even bits and pieces of Avatar The Last Airbender as well, I feel like there's going to be a continuing theme with Yangchen's story, as is mentioned slightly in her synopsis for the book. And so because of the political landscape, that could be an additional reason why she chose to focus on humanity more than the spirits and spirituality. Because humans, in the kindest way, are fucked up in many ways. And so focusing on humans and working to kind of make, I guess, the human race better in some way and bring about prosperity for the humans may have been the way that Yangchen herself saw to help bring balance to the world. In the case of the weapon, if this is such a thing of it being the spirits are the weapon, by bringing balance to the human side of the world, she may have thought that by doing that, it would guarantee safety for the spirits in some way. But of course she can't see the future, so she doesn't realise that by neglecting the spirits, it's what causes Korra's downfall and even all the other things that happen down the line. She made a choice, and while it may have been right at the time, it was a choice that didn't last very long in terms of being the right one. An additional thing that I think for just Yangchen as a character, I think would be interesting to explore is what we learn from her through Avatar The Last Airbender, specifically when Aang is asking her for advice on what to do with Ozai. She basically tells him he can't allow his culture and everything that he's grown up with to decide how he approaches a situation. Obviously they didn't know about energy bending at the time to take away someone's bending, but that says to me that she is the sort of person who, as an avatar, almost turned her back on her Air Nation heritage, because You can't allow one nation to define who you are as a person when you are meant to be for the entire world. You can't have, in a sense, favoritism to one nation. You can't impose your beliefs from the nation you grew up in on everyone else. You have to be flexible. You have to understand all cultures, all nations, to be able to be an avatar for all of them. And I wonder if we'll see a little bit of how that comes to be, of maybe she was the sort of person who used a lot of her Air Nation heritage to decide her decisions until she realised she can't do that because Air Nation rules are different to Earth Kingdom rules, or, vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see if we get an understanding or an exploration of that for her book, and how she goes from being an air nomad avatar to just being an avatar. And with that in mind, maybe we'll see her as a solo avatar, as someone who doesn't have a team. I think this is more of a personal thing for me, but I think it'd be really interesting to see an avatar who doesn't have a support network, because if there's a huge political landscape going on in her time, it may be difficult to trust people. We even see that in Kyoshi's period of time, the whole Yangchen situation. He was a psychopath. So we can see that there are conflicts that can arise with having people around you guiding you, because they could be guiding you wrong. And maybe Yangchen recognises this and so becomes a solo avatar with no team around her, except maybe occasionally bringing people in when she needs their help and quickly discarding them when she has to move on to a new thing. Because depending on the climate that we're going to be seeing in Yangchen's time, it definitely doesn't seem to be, from the synopsis, a sort of time period where you can trust people easily. Could be something very interesting to see, to figure out how she makes her decisions, and maybe why she makes the wrong ones in some cases, because she's doing it all on her own. Who knows? So there's a lot of different possibilities of what we could see in the dawn of Yangchen, and I am so excited. If you haven't read the Kyoshi novels yet, links for all those are going to be in the description box, as well as the links for the pre-order for Dawn of Yangchen. I highly recommend the books. Obviously, if you haven't watched the series either, watch those two. You technically don't need to watch the series to read the Kyoshi novels, which I love. But yes, all amazing. I can't wait to read this book. It is coming out in July. I'm excited. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. I hope some of the stuff I bring up does happen, because if I predicted some things, I'm going to be hyped as hell, because oh my god, I predicted something. But at the same time, I doubt I did, but it'll be hilarious if I did manage to. So we will see. I'll have to come back to this in future. Who knows? But anyway, sorry, that's a complete tangent. I hope you all enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun to theorise on what could happen in Yangchen's story. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. Drop a thumbs up. Comments for what you think may happen in Yangchen's novel as well. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.